Hello, everyone, and welcome back to This Week in Guns, brought to you by Patriot Batch Company, VZGrips, MAF Corporation for Patriots Food and Primary Arms. This show offers commentary on all of the latest firearms industry news, information, and buzz. I'm your host, Matthew Rosier, and I'm sick. I'm an icky, sicky boy, and joining me is my travel nurse and rat para illegal, Mr. Yvonne.
It's me. I'm also sick, but I'm sick with the drip.
You are. Look at that thing you got there.
Yeah, it's the thing. It's that spouter. Spouter with the crime boat.
I am so happy that you got that.
I finally got one. I've been shopping and hemming and hawing for one because I refuse to spend $1,000 for an AR that can't really take optics very good. Because but I'm so glad I finally got one. It was a parts kit that was all chopped to pieces.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
so you de-chopped it.
Yeah, I de-chopified it, and then I would shoot. It shoots so much better than I expected because I've shot a couple of original Colt Sporters, complete guns before, and was amazingly unimpressed with how they shot.
Yeah,
but this one is not overgassed at all. In fact, if you don't hold the gun tight, it doesn't cycle. It's that perfectly gassed with this new bolt in it. Oh, it's so good. I'm in love.
Do you think it's a combination of that bolt you got because it came with no bolt?
Yeah, that's true. I think that's what it is. Is the new boat carrier that's in there is still. I mean, it is still all tight, but it's just on the ragged edge of cycling. It makes it so good.
Oh, that's pretty big. Yeah, no, I've got a Sporter, the A2 Sporter, and I love that one. That one is not egregiously gassed or anything. It's a pleasure.
It frustrates me because it's a love-hate thing for me with Colt, where Colt puts so many full auto denials and stuff, full auto denials where it didn't even make sense, different size trigger pins and stuff, and then different size takedown pins in these guns. Just come on, guys, why?
Drilling a third hole and then placing a hardened steel block in it.
Yeah, or just leaving that area unmilled on some guns. And they kept changing how they did this, which was just particular. Every time that the civilian market found a way to then still make it full auto, Colt was like, no, change it.
Stop it.
They were very, very terrified about, I don't know, ATF overreach even back then. But Colt did so much in developing and making the AR the great gun, the dependable gun that it is today, was all work that Colt paid for. And then Colt got so little return for it because they were doing this at the bequest of the government where it doesn't really pay for it.
Right.
And by the time that novelty really became apparent to civilians at the end of the assault weapons ban, Colt was not the only party in town. All of their IP and patents and stuff had run out.
It was expired.
A lot of other companies made a ton of money off of stuff that, well, of course, Colt ended up then doing the same thing to Eugene Stoner. So it's a story of people getting gypped the whole way down.
Yeah. But anyway, I am glad though you were about to spend too much money on a new reproduction.
That's true. I was about to spend more than I got this whole kit for on a
reproduction. Yeah, and that's why and who linked you to that kit?
Well, I mean, I had already had it on my watch list, but then you reminded me about it, and that helped me make sure. My big buddy Matt from the FuddBlasters show.
That's right. I was like, don't buy that garbage here. Try to get this. And of course, you already had it on your list because you find the cool stuff first.
Yeah, because I've watched list every one of these Sporter uppers for 9 months now, and I won't bid above $700-ish because to me it's or I could get a reproduction. Maybe that would be just as good. But now I have a real one, and I can look down my nose at people.
I don't think you would have been happy with the reproduction.
Is that a reproduction? No, I got an original.
Because the uppers don't look exactly right.
Yeah. And now the only people who can look down their nose at me are the ones with the ultra clapped out actual A1 M16 kits, which are then so clapped out.
Do you mean me?
Yeah. There's aluminum missing from the inside of the upper. They got the cam pin rot.
Oh yeah, no, mine has really that. Good. Mine has a funny rear sight where one of the ears is a little tired.
Right. The cam pin has decided that it's got its own custom channel in the upper now.
Actually, mine doesn't have cam pin rot.
Nice.
Yeah.
And there was
very nice.
There was one that I saw at a gun show. It was just an A1 upper, and it was there for $20. And I was like, dude, that's a steal. And I looked inside of it, and I was like, oh. Somebody did something with this one where it looked like the bullet could probably rotate halfway into its locked position just while it's in the upper. It was bad.
That's good. So we've been really busy reading comments on so we started another project on the FuddBlasters YouTube channel, which you guys should check out, where we're basically we're attacking sacred cows. We're doing honest gun reviews without being paid for them. And so we've been really enjoying beating up on really bad guns. The issue with posting an honest opinion about a gun, though, is, it's similar to the car communities, right? Where they're expensive enough to where people become invested in them to the point where they can confuse their own personality with the gun.
Or in the instances where people can't have them, there's like this proto-sexual desire for the thing that you can't have, that it's like they want it so bad that they're willing to like white knight for something that they've never even touched.
It's so weird, isn't it? And so we've been enjoying some comments. What was your favorite comment from
my favorite one? My favorite one sort of harkens back to something that's annoyed me for a long time, where it's people insisting that the AK was just like an M1, like, because people will say, "Oh, the AK is just an STG clone," and no, it's not. But design Q wise, it's very, very close. Like it took a lot of cues right from the STG. But then they'll say, but look at the mechanism. The mechanism's from an M1 Garand. And then I'm like, huh? The M1 Garand's got like this completely ass backwards operating mechanism. And so to me, it's sort of like, Plato's man, where he plucks a chicken, then drops it and say, it's got 2 legs, it's got no feathers. This chicken is a man.
It's a man.
where like people have decided that here's how you justify the AK is the exact same as a Garand. It's got 2 lugs on its bolt. It's gas operated. This is a Garand.
Yeah.
To which I respond by going, the Charlton automatic rifle. It's got 2 lugs. It's gas operated. It's a Garand.
The RSC 1917. 2 lugs, rotating bolt, gas operated. It's a Garand.
Sure enough, and they got helical locking lugs and everything. I mean, it's just a Garand.
The Shoshaw has a gas booster.
It's got a little cam track. Yeah, it does a little camming.
So does the Shoshaw, and it's technically got a gas booster.
It's a Garand.
It's a Garand. Yeah, but although it is much harder to defend against the AK as a gas-operated Remington Model 8.
Right, because
that's actually true.
If you look at a Remington Model 8 bolt, it's all of a sudden like, wait. Like this bolt is actually a lot like an AK's bolt, whereas a
even the safety,
right? A Garand bolt to an AK bolt's like, no,
no. A Garand bolt is. I like the way you explained that is they were designing a bolt action rifle and got confused.
Right, like it strikes me as that Garand's inspiration was making a gas operated bolt action rifle.
Right, because the bolt actually looks like a Mauser 98 bolt that got squooshed.
Yep.
But anyway, so yeah, guys, check that out. We got great comments there. My favorite one is from this gentleman who was watching our so I guess some people like live comment their reactions to the video,
which is sometimes cool, because like sometimes people drop, like on the M14 video, there was a guy dropping all sorts of like little knowledge nuggets of stuff that they picked up, or people who served with these. There's people who served with M14s who have nothing nice to say about them, which is always rejuvenating to see. Mm-hmm. And then there's liars who say they served in the German military, as if that's a real thing, with like the G36.
I think we made that illegal.
Oh, this gun's great. I served in the German military. It was a really good gun.
Yeah. So yeah, here we had Mr. Tax followed by a series of numbers. So he started by literally copy pasting a news article. We can see he was having a completely normal day. And this is all in response to the P320 video. And then he continued with, "The gun works great." To which one spicy wiener replied, "It works great for shooting your leg." Followed up, again responding to an unknown point made in our review. "So what you saying is you're too weak for a 9mm recoil." And
excellent point.
Of course, and this goes on for some time, but my favorite is when he says, "Show us the firearm you two guys manufactured."
Well, shoot, Bob. You got us.
You got us. Yeah. And my favorite part is he's publicly subscribed.
I don't know if this stuff is like public yet, but one of the discords I'm in, there's a guy who is in the U.S. Army Forces, and they've been shooting their 320s a lot recently, their M17s, and they recently had a day where they had 25 of them out they were shooting. 4 of them failed to the point they would not run anymore. One of them had its extractor fail, and 3 of them, their recoil spring assemblies broke.
Only 4?
4 out of 25. That's pretty good.
Pretty good.
And then I know I saw this cope last time where they were like, oh, but the Beretta 92s had problems with their slides early on. The slides cracked in half. So
wasn't that after like 1.8 Gorillion rounds?
And then they're like, the 320s are just having teething issues. Well, the 320s are having teething issues when they're brand new. And yeah, you're right, where the Berettas did have slides crack in half, but it wasn't like the first time they get taken out or within 1 year of them being taken out. It was after a lot of rounds.
It was like 5,000, I think.
Right. It was a lot. So yeah, the 320s are having a rough go of things. And it's so strange that once again, the whole lowest bidder mentality gets you like a real bottom of the bucket gun.
Yeah, I did not think that we'd get such dramatic pushback on criticizing the 320. Anyway. So yeah, we've been really enjoying that, and we've got more coming. So sorry guys for my illness. You'll have to cope with me. I'm disabled. Speaking
me too. Just differently.
Yeah, speaking of me being disabled, so for the first news item story event of today's day, you remember Tennessee Governor William Billy Lee?
That's
you remember
Mr. Billy?
Yeah, he was doing the special session to try to get a red flag law passed, and then there was going to be some compromise bills, right, to help out gun owners.
Why is it, interjecting, why is it that pro-gun politicians, quote unquote pro-gun politicians, let's be real, cannot wrangle with the term compromise at all? It's just like a completely foreign concept to them. Just completely foreign.
Do you think maybe they just never learned?
I guess that's possible. Where like there's things that you could like pick and choose and give and trade. Like, it's one I've talked about before on the show, where especially there right when Trump got in, the anti-gun side would have been really smart to trade, at the very least, suppressors, if not short-barreled rifles, short-barreled shotguns. So all of the NFA, maybe but machine guns, because they would never go for that. But trade the the little piecemeal stuff on the NFA for universal background checks, and they totally could have got it. They totally could have got that compromise through. But like the pro-gun side doesn't know what a compromise is.
No, it means that you ask for the whole cake and we give you a slice.
Right. And the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act was just like the latest, greatest example of that.
Right.
And like, and then they realized like how shafted a lot of us actually got over that. And they're like, well, we didn't mean for that to happen. We didn't know that the law that we voted yes on was going to actually say what it says on it. Like, okay, idiot.
So, well, let's talk about the special session on how it's going, because this has been in the news, right? How he's going to do all these great changes. He's going to make a special session just to restrict guns in Tennessee or do other compromises, right? Like, I don't know. Well, so the first off, they were going to help gun owners, right? And listen, as a gun owner, what's one thing that you would really like out of a compromise bill?
Real answer or fake answer?
No, for real.
For real answer is things off of the NFA to be chill.
No. Don't be silly. Give me a real answer.
Glock switches in schools.
Guns in schools. That's what, yes. So you want, because, we all know the mass shooting is a problem. As many as, look, you have a 1 in approximately 12 million chance of dying in such a way.
That's true.
Every year. This is up to 10%, maybe even 20% as likely as your a choking related death. So it's a serious thing that we have to worry about a lot. And as many as 1 to 3% of those may happen in schools. So we are talking about a non-zero percentage of bugger all. So we need to make sure that the teachers can have the gun. And I accept this as a compromise, but the wrong-headed, idiot, stupid Tennessee law people let that die on.
They still couldn't get it.
They you know, because here's what happened. The bill was going to relax restrictions on who could bring guns on public school campuses, and they tied.
Oh God.
After a dramatic 4-hour hearing. And they brought in people who were from the school and were going to testify, but they were so upset that they were leaving the room. And you know, one of them, a mom, she questioned how she should tell her kids that the law lizards, they want to allow more guns in the school when her children are scared of guns.
Honestly, all of our public policies decisions should be based on how easy it is to explain to children.
How do I explain to these children that that's your solution? I want an answer.
How do I explain to children bedtime at 7, no ice cream? Huh?
So that bill didn't go anywhere. And then there was like, it was basically just a lot of nonsense. We've got another local coverage. Sorry, guys. What the governor wanted passed was like some kind of a red flag law, but like it's just not happening, right?
And so my understanding was that everybody was just like, we're going to take a couple of days to cool off, and that currently like the red flag laws haven't passed yet, but also nothing has.
Right.
Like there's been no compromise or no nothing yet.
Well, so they're going to talk about juvenile crime. That's the next thing that they're going to deal with.
Oh boy.
By the way, each day of the special session costs Tennesseans $60,000.
I'm surprised it's so little, actually.
Well, that's not including overtime and other expenses like staffing expenses and stuff like that.
Right.
Like all of the cops that
just
they have
in legislators. I see. Just in legislators costs.
Just legislators. This is unmitigated. Like, this is terrible.
It's pretty stupid.
How does he justify expending? Like, do you think this is all of his political capital? Because
it has.
They're not even going to get a vote on the red flag law,
and it's going to be, you know, he being in a red state, a relatively red governor. It's going to be interesting to see. It's going to be interesting to see how he squares this come re-election time, because this is one of those. If you don't get it done, it looks really bad. Like nobody's good. Like, you know, the anti-gun side won't like you because you didn't get it done. The pro-gun side won't like you because you tried.
Oh my God.
It's such a mess. And I guess it is interesting. Like, you know, there's little still tidbits of value here, because it's interesting to see that if on the table was, you know, because anti-gunners love to clamor about their red flag laws or what have you. It's interesting to see that they wouldn't play ball to get you red flag laws in exchange for, if a teacher who's licensed to carry a gun wanted to bring their gun in the classroom, they could. All the while, of course, yes, it's, you know, these schools allowing resource officers. And I'm going to be level with you. I had multiple teachers in high school who I was much more confident. You know, I'd be much more confident in their ability to safely use and carry a handgun than the donut stuffers that, you know, always end up, you know, the guys who couldn't make it as actual cops ended up being stuck in the school. So
yeah, the ones that when I went, because I went to a pretty big high school in South Florida, it was pretty clear that there was two. There was, like, you know, the sweetheart people, and then there was the people who just like had a bizarre fixation with beating up children, and so they would like take any possible chance they could to beat up a child for youthful indiscretion and then ruin their life by booking them. In fact, we had a police station, a substation on our high school campus.
That's a normal thing. That's a normal thing normal countries do.
Oh, and yeah, and by the way, one time a detective from the substation crashed into my mom's car, then got out with his, like, you know, his hip holster and just started screaming after he crashed into her car. It made us feel so good. It was so great.
These are great people.
You were good people. Anyway, speaking of good people, guess who re-upped? It's VZGrips.com. We already talked about how they re-upped, but I just want to remind you guys that they're good Florida company, most popular grips. This is Krell. I like that pattern. You should buy it and tell me how it is. Of course, the only official color, of the Rat Union FuddBlasters zone of the Rat crew is a hyena brown. So, but guys, VZGrips, they're good. We're still working on the conversation about the Draco hardware. We're going to make it happen at some point. But go on there, use promotional code ThisWeek15, that's THISWEEK15, and be sure to include in the comments that you're still waiting to see anime selection on the
where's
engraving.
the anime section?
Yeah, we need the anime section, because guess what? I mean, I'm sorry. This isn't going to cut it, what we got here, which is just Punisher skull and Gads and then Punisher 2. So you need to tell them that, and then also say
Punisher
Drake.
skull, but it's Miku.
That would be good. Yeah, and just also remind them Drake when.
Yeah, Draco win.
So yeah, VZGrips.com, promotional code THISWEEK15. Check them out. Good company, good product. The next thing is something that was not surprising at all. So we had the first primary debate.
Oh gosh, it was. I caught like I missed the first 20 minutes, I guess you should say, and turned it on because there was nothing else on, and oh my god.
Well, so like it makes sense that they didn't talk about guns.
It kind of does. Of course, I agree, but when Trump did his town hall on CNN, they asked him point blank how he felt about the bump stock thing in retrospect. Like that, I was like, dude, there's no way they just asked him that, especially on CNN, but they did.
Wait, what did they ask him?
They asked him if he regretted the bump stock decision. He's like, no, because it was an excellent decision. I did the right thing. And I was like, oh my god, I reserve my comments. I don't like you.
Yeah, no, that's awful. Paved the way.
Literally paved the way for everything that's bad going on now with the ATF. Cool.
Yeah, it was so great. He did the right thing. But yeah, but no, I mean, given the fact that we've only seen the most dramatic expansion of federal meddling in the Second Amendment since, well, literally ever.
Literally ever.
Yeah, naturally, you wouldn't expect any of the other candidates to say anything. And so, yeah, this has been written about. Republicans' mum on guns at first primary debate, where, of course, the only times it actually came up were the little tiny murmurs and meeps from candidates. Of course, that was to generally make the police bigger.
Yep.
And like literally, who was it that said, was it Christie who said that he would direct more police presence?
Yes, I think it was him that specifically said more cops good. Yay.
Yeah, but he like said he would somehow do it, which is not.
Yeah, the federal government
cannot do that. Yeah.
And
that he would step up federal prosecutions of violent crimes in cities, which
it was weird because Fox did frame the question really weird because they didn't ask about guns broadly. They're like, crime in cities, guns. Mm-hmm. Like it was such a, like they asked the question in a weird way, and then nobody really answered that question about guns. They answered it about crime in cities. A, because it's a massive problem, and B, because that's like particularly appetizing. In fact, it's like the whole platform of some of those guys that were up there. Yeah. It's like that's really what they want. That's the angle that they wanted to go at.
It's true. City bad.
Especially some cities are like scary, out of control.
City bad.
Move out. Be free.
Yeah, no. We actually in the FuddBlasters Discord, which you should join. You should pay the nominal fee and join.
We'll be mean to you.
Yeah, we'll be.
All you have to do is give us money.
You can join the Rat Club. But if you are a city dweller, there is no such thing as mod abuse. That's in the rules. But anyway, it's horrible. What do you think? I mean, wait, no, I was going to ask you, who do you think is going to pull out of this? But God. I have learned my lesson.
Here's the trouble. I think it's going to be Trump.
I have learned my lesson.
He wasn't on the debate stage.
I have learned it. I'm not doing it anymore.
he wasn't on the debate stage, and the showing was so bad from everybody else. It was just hard to watch. And then
so here's the thing: is
Nikki Haley in the
oh god, yeah, I have always made predictions that I thought were very smart, and then always somehow it was way worse than what I could have said. So I'm just done.
That's why I'm predicting the worst outcome.
Is Trump worse than Chris Christie?
Oh man, I think he might be, because like Christie's at least had his come to Jesus moment about guns, where he's like, I used to think gun control works. I now don't think gun control works.
Yeah, and he got beat into submission. But I don't know. I'm refusing to make a prediction.
Nikki Haley dropping the Israel haymaker was just incredible. It's not about how much Israel needs us. It's about how much we need Israel.
That's fine.
I cannot believe I heard that on a presidential debate stage. It's insane.
I can. I am used to this breed of dogma. It has permeated this country for a long time, and
it's just so strange, especially because like they've got America. Like there's multiple of them that have like, you know, America First or Make America Great Again inspired platforms. And then they're there to tell you that the most important country is Israel.
Yeah, we need to feed them more of our money.
It's very strange.
It's important to do that.
Yeah, because our freedom.
Wouldn't it be cool, like, very shortly after the ratification of the Constitution, one of the founders went screaming to Congress because they had approved like foreign aid to some, I think, French folk, screaming, saying, I cannot undertake to find within this document that source of power which would allow you to render international aid.
That would be so cool if somebody did that.
That is, it's like, those are the debates. Those are the good ones.
Yep.
But of course, that was right after the Constitution was ratified, and they were just like, yeah, but they needed it.
Spend?
They needed us. and then Jefferson's like, but the French gave me a good deal.
It's not about how much we need France. It's about how much the France needs. We need French fries.
Literally. That's American history right there. God, I hate this reality. Next up, this is a fascinating thing about DC. This is a DC story. And it's about red flag laws too. And it kind of fishtails. I'm an idiot. It kind of dovetails into the last two stories we was talking about. Because red flag laws kind of fit into like this analytical black hole. Supporters of red flag laws are often, I mean, yes or no. How do you think that people who generally support red flag laws feel about police?
They have to accept that they do good.
But I'm not saying not just on red flag.
From an emotional standpoint, they don't like them.
And over like a 10,000 foot view standpoint, they are critical of police.
Right.
So they generally, they oppose excessive policing, and this is rational. But when they're supporting red flag laws,
all of a sudden,
they have to point to something to legitimize the red flag policy. And this isn't easy, right? Because gun control laws. All right, I'm going to be real with you, audience, guys. You guys say gun control laws don't do anything, they won't do anything. You're not being intellectually honest. They can move the margins. They can't move at very large numbers, but the periphery, they can have some effect there on, right? So since gun control laws only ever move on the margins, right? We're talking about like tenths of percents here.
Yep.
Even at the most extreme level, and even if we were to grant that any law would be intensely effective, right, in achieving its stated purpose, the simple reality is that most violent firearm crime is gang related. And then when we talk about firearm deaths, right, where a gun is actually used in a death, the majority of those are self-harm. And that thus leaves a very narrow figure that we can poke these numbers around in. So even if a law were hyper effective in terms of gun crime, the difference it would make could be a rounding error. Like the difference year over year in the trends could be explained as a simple statistical error.
Like there's external factors like coronavirus is like an extreme external factor, but I think a good example of like, it doesn't matter how many laws you pass for, like people start coughing or getting sick or whatever, and then all of a sudden it's
you'll just never. And it's because like in the takeaway there is that the gun crime as people envision it is not that common. It's
frankly very rare.
Praise God. But again, this puts the proponents of the red flag laws in an awkward position, as we see here. So what are they going to do to legitimize red flag laws? Well, they're going to make sure to pump up.
I was about to say is like to just abuse that system.
Number go up.
Yep.
Right? So yeah, DC officials are working their butts off now to pump up red flag orders. And think about it, the reasoning for this. The only thing these people can point to if they're going to legitimize the law is how many orders were issued.
Yep.
So rhetorically, they don't need to explain that a crime was actually avoided or prevented, or that anyone was saved, or that anything happened. Like,
and admittedly, that would be difficult to do in a lot of cases.
Yes, but when the number go up, they can intimate that the policy has succeeded, right? Because by saying we've had 1,000 confiscation orders, that's up 400%. There's a lot of unspoken implications behind it.
Right, because like maybe only 1% of those were real, and then they'll do that whole "but even one life" song and dance.
Right. And
like
so
1,000 people being stripped of their rights is just an inconvenience, really, when we think about the number of lives saved, which is probably 0.
Right. And so the net result of number going up is just making police relations even more restrained, right?
Yep.
And so knowing all this, DC Metro officials have done the obvious right thing. And what they're doing is they've launched a PR campaign to encourage more cops, because in DC, cops can initiate a red flag confiscation, and individuals to pursue these red flag orders. And I am assured that this will not be misused in any way.
Certainly not.
So that's nice.
They promise they'll be good.
How fucked is that? Like when you sit and think about it.
It's pretty messed up.
It's literally like, I don't know if you've been to DC. I lived there.
I was there for like 5 hours. It was okay because the Smithsonian's cool.
Smithsonian's cool. The cops. So there's when you're in the Smithsonian, right? That's where it's like nice.
Right.
Like I spent some time there, and the cops do not like you. Yeah. They do, like, people talk about like stop and frisk and stuff. In DC, that's like still a thing.
DC was the pilot program for like shithole cities.
Yeah. It was like, everybody like, God, what a terrible deal. Like that they made.
And the fact that it's our capital is just kind of,
well, no, because it was such a terrible deal that the Virginiaites made because the capital was going to be New York City, I think.
Right.
And they were like, "Oh no, please, like, here, we'll give you this swamp in the corner of Virginia, and also you can like play with the banks." Like, what a bad deal. But anyway, fuck, that shit makes me sad because people are gonna get hurt.
Yeah, there's people. There's at least one person who's close to me who was a cop supporter sort of person who ended up getting arrested for shooting on his own land. Like somebody called the cops saying, "Oh, there's gunfire," despite the fact he shoots there all the time. Cops showed up. The first thing they do is like hands on guns, put him in cuffs, put him in the squad car, take him to the station. because he's shooting legally on his own land the way he's done since he was a kid. Like, come on, dude, that's insane.
Well, you know, he had it coming.
It was bizarre. And then of course, anti-cop. The only way that needle moves is then you come away from that like, wow, cops are dicks. And so this is a lesson to any cops who may be listening. Don't be a dick.
It's possible.
It's possible to be a cop and not be a dick.
I read it once.
It's just evidently very difficult.
I know, but I believe in you. If you're a policeman who is watching this program, I believe in you.
You can do it.
Other things to believe in include MAF Corporation. MAF Corporation. Look at our lovely new site. It's nice. It's a nice site. Check it out. Check out the pics that we did, and all of the products that are available for sale. You can like the Drakes are in, by the way. That's important.
Great.
That's very important. You can use promotional code Foxtrot Romeo November to get a lovely discount. So check it out, boys. God, my voice is failing. We have to get through this show. Oh God, this next story. Oh, do you remember Webley?
Yep. It was the renowned maker of the good guns.
Yeah. Wait, when? What?
You know, at that time.
Yeah, I think in the 1800s, at one point, they developed a revolver action by copying it from some people, and then kept going until the 40s or 50s. But yeah, they had some self-loading pistol patents and like some they were all very uniquely British, right? In the horrifying way that they were done. But
yeah,
especially the Webley self-loader, like holy shit!
Like how much of this gun's action can we put on the outside?
Yeah,
all of it. Yes.
Yeah, no, that's the Webley ejector on the revolver.
External cam tracks, external actual cams.
Yeah,
external
spring.
screws to hold everything together.
Yeah.
It's so good.
It's so good.
And weird proprietary thread pitches, square thread.
Well, it's important to have those.
God, you're boiling my tea or whatever they say.
Yeah, it's important to make sure all of your garbage is completely not interchangeable. Wait, actually, hold on. Look what I had laying around.
Wow.
Like, yeah, literally as much as possible on the outside of the gun.
And why are there so many screws?
Yeah. Look at this.
And like with American revolvers, they like get the screws to sit flush, and in some cases they like grind the heads of the screws flush with the frame before finishing goes on. And then they're over there in England going, I got the screws is straight and uniform looking with our teeth in it.
Yeah. No, and then all of them have a different head size.
Yeah, of course.
Look at that boy. The sheer size of that.
When I say British people, I don't mean to be so demeaning to the term people.
It's so funny. Anyway, so yeah, that Webley. Well, listen, they're gonna step it up a notch.
At least a notch.
Yes, they're moving up.
Either one notch up or several down.
They're gonna do some more good stuff. Because look, they're, as with all British operations, right? They have an India branch, and they're gonna introduce a new pistol, never before seen. All right, and again, this is from the greats, right? Who brought you I mean, actually, this one was made by Enfield, which is funny. But yeah, they're the big guys. So let's check it out. You excited?
I'm so excited. I can't even. Okay, wow, it's a clone of a Czechoslovakian gun that you could just buy anyway.
Wait, what do you mean?
Isn't that a CZ?
I have never heard of the CZ83. I don't think that's a real gun. This is obviously not a CZ83 clone. This is a double stack gun.
Oh, yeah, that's so different. It's a different gun.
Yeah, CZ83 is also double stack. But look, it says Webley on it.
Well, that's worth every penny.
It's the Fox. of all the guns to clone,
It's
like,
a CZ that you can just buy anyway.
yeah, you can just buy them.
Wow, when can I get this pistol and how much will it cost?
You can't. It's right now available. Listen, it's right now available exclusively through your master dealer network across the Indian continent. So you can take a booking for delivery 30th November onwards. So let's find a master dealer, and we can get pricing from them. Oh, still none in Panjai. We can go to the Singh Gun House. God, look at the look at the way the site is formatted. Mr. JP Singh is like the
he owns everything.
Yeah, he's like the oligarch of the Indian gun market. So I do want one of these.
I do for a bit, like a bad gun purposes. Of course, it does say Webley on it, which is kind of cool. But
yeah, no, I want it as like, look what IP does. Like, the existence of intellectual property has led to this gun, right? Because they started making the Mark IV in India in 2020. Right, that's the thing we were just playing with. Why? I don't know, but they needed to make more. So they're just like, I guess they just like looked around the workshop.
Is it like maybe Indian, like, because this thing's in 32, right?
Well, there is that like weird Indian, or is that just Pakistan that has the 30 bore thing?
I have no idea, but I was wondering if like India's police force is maybe entertaining this. Does India have their military officers procure their own guns, or?
Oh, they would eat that up so hard. You know, the British icon,
right?
The famous Czech gun from the British icon. God, it's awful. But yeah, it's just like, I don't know. I just wanted to include this as like, I don't know. I thought it was interesting. Maybe you're not as weird or nerdy as I am, but
here's a nice bow to put on this one. Count yourself lucky, because in the US everyone wants to complain, I can't get an MP7. Guess what? You don't actually want one. Or like, I can't get a VSS. Guess what? You really don't actually want one. But like, here's the blessing that you get. People in the US often take for granted. This is like a big deal for the gun industry in India.
Right.
An absolute piece of dog ass.
Yeah.
It's terrible. And meanwhile, we're spoiled for choice, where we've got SIGs that shoot themselves, SIGs that don't shoot themselves.
Yeah. We got all kinds of different flavors of. But yeah, no, that is an interesting thing to think about. Like, they're taking pre-orders for this thing.
Yeah. Like here in the US, stuff that takes pre-orders is like sometimes cool, sometimes unobtainium, sometimes it's just like actually reasonably desirable stuff. But
anyway, let's move on to the new solar generator that keeps you safe in blackouts. It's for Patriot Food Survival Corporation. Listen, the deadliest consumer product. The government has warned the known safety threat poisons thousands of Americans every year. And worse, click here now, deadliest consumer. It's the gas generator. It hurts. It's going to hurt your head. You don't need that. Get this one. Get this one. Go to 4patriots.com and use promotional code. It's Twig10. No, it's not. It's FRN. It's Foxtrot Romeo November, and you're gonna get 10% off. You can look. Oh my gosh! Look at all the graphs that are available on this website. I'm gonna start my order right now while you guys go and do it the same. All right, next up. So this is good. We've been talking about the ATF's excessive use of revocation hearings for like 2 years now.
Yep.
It seems the mainstream media has finally got a hold of it.
I saw like one or two stories where it's like years after the fact, they're like, hey, did you guys know this is happening? Wow.
Right. Well, it is interesting though, because ATF is like, Now that there's some mainstream media attention, they're like, oh no, where's not this? No, like it is almost a relief that the mainstream media is paying attention to the ATF's like hyper aggressive expansion of its involvement with FFLs, and they recognize that FFL regulations have reached all times high, or revocations rather. I mean, I noticed this myself
too.
Yeah. When I was practicing in South Florida, I barely got any calls to represent gun dealers in revocation hearings, but around 2020, it became something that took up a great deal of my time. And the fascinating thing is that here, when pressed, the ATF, as well as in other contexts, is trying to hide behind the law as it's written. And they're saying that they're just enforcing the law as they always have, but leaving out the critical distinction that the bastards changed their interpretation in the back room in an unpublished, unpromulgated opinion.
Yep.
So you're subject to revocation if you have willfully violated the law. And that's an important standard there, right? FFLs who willfully violate the law are due to have their licenses revoked. But again, ATF internally changed its mind as to what willful means, which is a very important and widely used term in the law, which is tantamount to scienter. It's like pretty much intentional. It's like one step below intentional. So it's reckless disregard without telling anyone, right? So they made willful completely inconsistent with everywhere else in the law.
Yep.
And they're just saying, oh, no. We're not overstepping.
We're just doing what the law says. We're just
doing what the law says, that we said it says. So again, now simple errors can lead to costly and dangerous revocation hearings, which are a stacked kangaroo court presided over by, would you think, some neutral third party? No, it's actually one of the top agents of the ATF for your area. That's fair.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It makes total sense. So yeah, no, it's funny because on this T-Tag article, they're like, ATF, oh, no, we haven't become a politicized weapon of the Biden administration. No.
All
right, checks out.
Guys, we're just doing to enforce the
just following orders.
just following orders.
Yeah.
Inshallah, we shall hear this as an official answer one day. Whenever God Emperor DeSantis holds the entire ATF, every ATF agent in front of Congress for hearings, and he asks them for their answers, and they're all just like, following orders? And Dettelbach's just like, following orders, and then they're like, aha, I knew it.
I found him. Oh God.
Who is the big guy?
We won't get to, we can't name the big guy. We're scared for our lives. But you know what we're not scared of? Patriot Patch Company, custom design patches, apparel, and accessories for any freedom-loving individual. Look, I just got the new one in the mail. The new one in the mail.
There's the one on the left is this night. It looks like it's pretty reliable, but not very accurate. And the one on the right, it looks like it might not be the most reliable, but it's probably more accurate.
It's inaccurate, but it's liable. All right, yeah, no, there's a right to keep bear arms shall not be in front. And also, this is the next one coming out, September exclusive. Let's take a look here. It is the Lady Liberty. This I will defend. She's got what's this? An AR-18 here, a brown AR-18, an upside down belt AR-18, an AR-15,
an AR-18 that poops on itself.
And then I think that's an M1 Garand.
Yeah.
And that, wait, hold on, 2 lugs, recoil operated.
It's a show.
It's a show. Yeah.
It's 2 lugs and it's recoil operated.
Yeah, it's a show. That makes a lot of sense. It's a Model 8.
Also a Model 8.
Yeah. God. But yeah, guys, join Patriot Patch Co. If you like patches, if you like this sort of thing, it's a great thing to just be a part of. And they're a good company. You know how you can tell they're a good company? Because they get banned from all the social media sites, just like you. So go to patriotpatch.co and use promotional code TWIG10, TWIG10. You get a discount on your buddy Us. So check them out. Oh,
Do you ever stop and think? Do you ever stop and think that the AR in AR stands for ain't reliable? You think that's why they named it that? Because it ain't very reliable, but it's accurate.
It ain't liable, but accurate. Hey, you know, when Vietnam and Mattel and plastic mosquito bite and dirt dust and a gun, but accurate, and I need it. I ain't want commie gun, but it's liable.
And in the pickup and they take the AK,
put the dirt. They put the dirt on them and
monsoon.
We take because we don't net NATO rounds.
They're reliable.
They liable, and the tolerance is loose.
Stick powder
ain't accurate.
Might be liable though.
Sloppy. Barrel all loose and wiggles.
Gas post, accord hearings. Eugene Stoner and a forward assist.
I think that might be one of the most meta gun discussions we've ever had.
It definitely needs to be a short.
There you go, Vince. Eugene Stone. 1911.
45. Philippine conflict.
World War of this one, World War II, and M9. A lot of bullet. Crack. Nightmare crack. Can't. Spaghetti slinger. 45, 46.
1911 crack slide. Nope.
Even say internal extractor.
Extract on the inside.
You gotta tune it. Did you check the recoil spring?
Whoa, steel.
Polish the fade ramp.
And sometimes slow fat moving in the dumb.
Hitler ain't making any more.
Hitler, no, don't make no good ones.
All right, guys. We'll see you next time.
Assuming we don't die of laughter.